Now moving to page 4, students. There are certain regions which are rich in certain types of resources, but they are lacking or deficient in some other resources. There are some regions, students, which can be considered self-sufficient in terms of availability of resources, and there are some regions which have acute shortage of some vital resources, like the states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. They are rich in minerals, coal deposits, and Arunachal Pradesh has abundance of water resources, but it lacks infrastructure development. Similarly, we talk about the state of Rajasthan. It is very well endowed with solar and wind energy, but it lacks the water resources. And the cold desert of Ladakh is relatively isolated from the rest of the country, but it has very rich cultural heritage, and but it is deficient in water infrastructure and some other vital minerals. So students, you have seen that some regions are very good in something and lacking the other thing. So this calls for a balanced resource planning at the national, state, regional and local levels. Now students, page 4 only. Now we have to discuss resource planning in India, students. Now a 3-step resource planning is there in India we have adopted. So resource planning is a very complex process which involves first step identifying. Here we will first identify the stock of resources across the regions of the country, that is where are the resources located. So this we will do by surveying, by mapping and by qualitative and quantitative estimation and measurement of resources. So first step in the resource planning is identifying. We have to identify our resources. Second is planning structure, evolving a planning structure so that this structure should be equipped with appropriate technology, skills, institutional setup for implementing resource development plans. So in this we evolve a planning structure through which we can extract the resources through appropriate technology. Now third step is overall development, students. In this we will match the resource development plan with the overall national development plan. So we will adopt that plan only which will cater to the development of full nation. So this is 3-step planning, students. 3-step planning here, that is identifying, then evolving a planning structure and then overall development. So on page 4 only, students, we have discussed the resource planning in India. So this is 3-step resource planning. I have told you identifying, then evolving a planning structure and then third is overall development. Now India has made collective efforts for achieving the goals of resource planning, students, right from the first 5-year plan which is launched after independence. The availability of resources is a very necessary condition for the development of any region, but mere availability of resources in the absence of corresponding changes in technology and institutions may hinder the development. Like there are many regions in our country that are rich in resources, but these are included in economically backward regions, like for example Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand. So these regions are rich in resources, but economically they are backward. And on the contrary, there are some regions which have a poor resource base, but they are economically developed. So like Maharashtra, because there we have developed people as a resource. And students, the history of our colonization reveals that rich resources in the colonies were the main attraction for the foreign invaders. So we have seen this, that why Britishers came to India, because India was rich in resources, and it was primarily the high level of our technologically development of the colonizing countries that helped them to exploit the resources of other regions and establish their supremacy over the colonies. Therefore, resources can contribute to the development only when they are accompanied by appropriate technologically development. and institutional changes. So India has experienced all this in different phases of colonization, that how Britishers came here, exploited our resources, established their supremacy. Why? Because we were technologically weak at that time. So in India, students, development in general and resource development in particular does not only include the availability of resources but also include technology. So resources we were having at that time, but now the stress which we have to give is to technology and the quality of human resources. At that time, most of the Indians were illiterate, and the historical experiences of the people. So we have to incorporate this thing also from the past, whatever we have learned. So we have to incorporate that thing also. So the next step which we have to see, the next topic is conservation of resources. So resources are vital for any developmental activity. We have seen these things, students. But irrational consumption and overutilization of resources may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems. This we have seen in the form of land degradation, soil degradation, air pollution. And to overcome this problem, resource conservation at various levels is important. Otherwise, we will face the ecological crisis. And this had been the main concern of our leaders also and thinkers also in the past, like Gandhiji. He gave this statement about resource conservation, that is, there is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed. He placed the greedy and the selfish nature of the individuals and exploitative nature of the modern technology as a root cause for resource depletion at the global level. And Gandhiji was against mass production and wanted to replace it with the production by masses. So students, the Gandhian strategy emphasized on the employment oriented planning rather than production oriented planning, students. So it is very well said by Gandhiji that there is enough for everybody's need but not for anybody's greed. That is, the desires or greed never ends, and this is the brutal reality, and this is the reason why some people have much more than they should have and many have much less than what they should have. Now on page 5, students, we are on page 5 now. So now here we will narrow down our discussion to one resource, that is land. So here we will discuss land resources. Now let us see the uses of land to us, students. Like, we live on land, we perform our economic activities on land, we use it in different ways. It supports natural vegetation, wildlife, human life, economic activities, transport, communication system. Thus land is a natural resource of utmost importance, students. But here there is one limitation to the land, that is, land is an asset of finite magnitude, means land is limited, fixed. We can't expand the land. Therefore, it is important to use the available land for various purposes with careful planning. So now we have to see the land resources in India, that is, how the land is distributed under various relief features in India. Or now we have to see the distribution of Indian land mass. So India has a variety of relief features like mountains, plateaus, plains, islands. So about 43% of our land area is plain area, which provide facilities for agriculture, industry. Then we have mountains. It accounts for 30% of our total area and ensure the regular flow of some of the rivers, provide facilities for tourism. Then third category we have plateaus. 27% of area of our country is plateau. It possesses rich reserves of minerals, forest and fossil fuels. Now this was regarding land resources. So under this we have seen the uses of land, we have seen the limitation, that is land is fixed, and then we have seen the distribution of Indian land mass, that is plains 43%, mountains 30% and plateaus 27%. Now we have to see the land utilization, student. The next topic is land utilization. So land resources are used for following purposes, that is, first is forest. Second, land not available for cultivation. So we have land which is not available for cultivation, that is, it is divided into A, barren and wasteland, that is land unfit for cultivation. So which is barren and wasteland, which is unfit for cultivation. B, land put to non-agricultural uses, example buildings, roads, factories. So this land is also not available for cultivation, students. Now third category, so first was forest, second was land not available for cultivation, third is other uncultivated land. Now it is divided into first A, that is permanent pastures and grazing land, and these are left for animals. B part, land under tree crops, like the group of trees which grow on the side of the road, so this is land under tree crops. C is cultivable wasteland, that is it is left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. So this land we have not cultivated from the last 5 years. Fourth category now, fallow lands. Fallow means, students, inactive land not put to agriculture use in order to recover its fertility, and it is divided into A part, current fallow, left without cultivation for more one or less than one agricultural year. So current fallow is left without cultivation for one or less than one agricultural year. And second B part, other than current fallow, that is left uncultivated for the last 1 to 5 agriculture years. So students, most of the other than current fallow lands are either of poor quality or the cost of cultivation of such land is very high. That's why we are not cultivating them. Now the fifth thing which we have to see is net sown area. So the area sown once in a year is known as net sown area. Okay, once in a year. So the area sown once in a year is a net sown area. Like there is a land plot of 2 hectares, and on this 2 hectares only one crop is sown, so it means our net sown area is 2 into 1. 2 means land size and 1 is the number of time crops we have grown. So here net sown area is 2. Now gross cropped area, students, the area sown more than once in agriculture year plus net sown area is known as gross cropped area. That is, the area is counted as many as times as there are sowings in the year. For example, on the 2 hectare land 3 crops are grown, that is Rabi, Kharif and Zaid crop. So the gross cropped area here will be 6. 2 into 3 means 2 is the land size and 3 crops we are taking, so it is 6. Now the next thing which we have to see is land use pattern in India, students. So on same page, student, page 5 only, we have to see now land use pattern in India. Now students, our total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometer. This you have done in your grade 9th. Now the land use data, however, is available only for 93% of the total geographical area, because the land use reporting for most of the northeastern states except Assam has not been done fully. Then there are some border areas like J&K occupied by Pakistan and China, they have not been surveyed. Now moving to page 6, students. Now on this page 2 pie charts are given for the land use for the year 1960, 61 and 2014 and 15, students. And in some books the data for 1960, 61 and 2008 and 9 is given. So statistics, the data and statistics, they might differ. Now if we look at these 2 pie charts, we find that forest area has increased from 18.11% to 23.3% in 2014 and 15, students. But still the forest area in the country is far lower than the desired 33%. According to the National Forest Policy of 1952, 33% of area of country should come under the forest, because then only ecological balance will be maintained, and forests are considered to be very essential for maintaining this ecological balance and the livelihood of millions of the people who live on the borders of this forest. They depend upon forest only. Now next is the barren and uncultivable wasteland, and it has shown a decline from 18.11% to 5.5% in 2014 and 15. And wasteland, students, include rocky, arid and desert area, and land put to other non-agricultural uses include settlements, roads, railways, industries. Now, next is students, area under non-agricultural uses has increased from 4.95 to 8.7 due to the increase in construction of roads, industries, railways. And next is students, area under permanent pastures. It has decreased, and so how we are going to feed our cattle population then? So the alternatives are available, like artificial feeds are available in the markets. Next category is students, cultivable wasteland. It has decreased from 6.23 to 4.0%. Then is fallow, other than current fallow, has also you can say increased, very minute differences there, and current fallow land has increased, and now students net sown area has now decreased from 46.26% to 45.5%. Now the why this is so? Because of the land degradation, you can say, because of the floods and droughts, you can say. So now the pattern of this net sown area varies greatly from one state to another, students, and it is over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana, and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, and in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, students. So now the continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking any appropriate measures to conserve and manage it has resulted in land degradation, student, and this in turn has serious repercussions on society and environment. So the land degradation and conservation measures we have to see, this is very important topic. Always a question comes on this in CBSE exams, and land degradation is a process through which the land becomes unfit for the cultivation, and 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter and clothing are obtained from land only. So we will see what are the various causes of land degradation and what are the measures taken to restore it in our next video. Thank you.